All right, today's the day they open up Stadium under the Season 5 patch notes. Let's take a look at what we got here. Ricochet anti-cheat. So it looks like they're going to start requiring secure boot, makes the PC can only load trusted software. So that is a step in the right direction. We'll see how that affects cheating. They've made many steps over the years. Some worked a little bit better than others. We'll see if this can actually limit some of that. Maps, Verdansk, Militarized Stadium. A new multi-step contract is available during the first week of the season. You can infiltrate, unrecover, and complete explosive satellite hijack contract before the time runs out. Once unlocked, players will find the POI is now more meaningful than ever. Got new vertical structures, solid materials, high variation. Starting week 2, the stadium will remain permanently unlocked and designated as a high-value loot zone, which is nice. High-value loot zones do help because, I mean, let's be real. When you're looting around the map, it is tough because you just can never get money. These high loot areas make it like actually viable to land there and loot. Stadium Resurgence is going to be like a limited time mode with 36 players, kind of let you just get used to the POI. You can just land and explore, or just sit there and be aggro and kill a bunch of people. Playlist update. Let's see, anything change here? Doesn't look like it. Looks like pretty much the same thing other than that limited time mode that we just discussed. Ranked play, adjustments to SR. So people had a hard time going up in SR even though they were placing second and third, because there was just no placement points from like 5th to 1st. So basically once you top 5, that was it. There was no more unless you won the game. And that kind of hurt a lot of people that were like placing 4th, 3rd, 2nd. There was just no more points. And back in Almaz, that's how it was. You place like, I believe, 3rd place, you would get more SR. So this is a way for people who are placing 2nd, 3rd, but still struggle to get that 1st place. They're able to go up 25 more SR per match. And that'll make things a little bit easier as far as not having to fry out the lobby. Because, you know, not everyone are shooters in this game, but this will help people who can play a little bit more positional get a little bit more SR per game. That's actually going to make the leaderboards go up just a little bit quicker, by the way, too. So that'll be something to keep an eye on. Restrictions. So I guess this is probably something that was abused and is now restricted. The 9mm Damon PM. Resurgence elimination. Challenge rewards. This will just be what gets you these stickers, camos, and blueprints. And this is what they look like. Top 250 card. And Eerie, Crim, Diamond, Platinum, and Gold. I actually kind of like the style of the rewards this year. I'm not a big fan of like the last couple seasons. The weapon camo is pretty cool. The charm and the weapon blueprint. I like this. I mean, they did a good job with the art here. I do like the top 2. The top 250 and the iridescent both look pretty nice this year. You got your career placement stuff, operators, seasonal rewards. So you got just more charms, calling cards, and stuff for each of the placements. Loot and economy, ground loot. The new season 5, the new LMG will be on the ground floor loot, which is cool because one of the things you can do to make the game feel just a little bit more fresh is updating that ground floor loot. I feel like that's just something that's overlooked for so long, and if you can keep that ground floor loot fresh, it kind of makes the first 3 minutes of the game before you get your loadout, maybe the first 5 minutes of the game, feel like a different game. So I believe updating ground floor loot every season is very, very important. Lootable perks. Okay, so I believe this is still under Warzone, right? Like, is it? I don't know. So like, okay, we just went into ranked. Now there's lootable perks. We'll see. I don't know if this is going to be in Warzone, but I like lootable perks. I think they should be on big map. If you already have specialists on the map, what's the big deal with lootable perks? I think that'd be a cool thing to add, and it just gives people a little bit more of a reason to go around looting. Like I said, loot table kind of is ass right now when it comes to money. So that would be something to get people excited when you open up a crate and you find like a cool perk. Adjustments, buy station updates. The buy station spawn location have been re-randomized across the map to create more dynamic combat scenarios. And this is, again, like the ground floor loot, shifting the buy stations to make it feel like a little bit different of a flow, right? So like, for example, there used to be a buy station up here and the game would end all the way out here. Well, now there's not. So when the game ends out here, there's no buy station. So it vastly changes how you play this in-game position in this particular spot of the map. And that's going to be, you know, throughout most of the map. I see some of them are the same, and then some of them are not, right? There's no buy station inside of prisons, also an important one for people that like to play prison. Contract, satellite hijack, limited time contract. Okay, so this is for 1 week only inside a stadium. So if you're looking to get like these blueprints, see right here, rewards and opportunities, you need to make sure you go into it the first week. It's going to be in regular BR, and it's also going to be in casual. So you can have, if you're worried about being able to get it done, because I'm sure it's going to be a hot drop. Everyone's going to be trying to get this done. If you're worried about that, casual is probably your best bet to get it done. So it's available for 1 week, and you can work with or against each other. So, I mean, if you load in as multiple teams to get it done, because it does require multiple teams to get it done, it might be the most efficient way. But, you know, people frown upon teamers. So how it works, multiple squads must complete the contract in the same match to initiate the stadium breach. Now, I heard that if you complete the contract, you can go complete another one. So if you're a high skilled team, you can go complete multiple. So you might be able to get it done yourself. 4-step process. Investigate a campsite to locate a decrypting tool. Seems easy. Eliminate the player who already scavenged it. That's the part I'm curious about, because if someone else in the match had to have completed this contract, then you have to find that person, right? So if you're the first person to get this contract done, how does that work? Hijack a relay module to begin the hacking process. I'm sure that'll mark it on the map or something. Once hacking is complete, rush into the breach stadium. So it looks like it's 4 steps. I'm super curious to see how this plays out. And this is the kind of stuff I wish we would get more often, is like these exciting like reward opportunities for blueprints and things like that. Secure permanent blueprint. Dude, blueprint. Exactly what we want. Blueprints and weapon camos that you can apply on any weapon. Discover limited time secondary objectives. Available in both core and casual. Equipment adjustments. Okay, so this is going to be big. If you guys remember back in like Verdansk when it first came out, you could go prone and a spring mine come up and it would take almost no damage, if none at all. Well, if you go prone now, you receive an 85% damage reduction while proning. So get used to using your muscle memory, all right? And get prone when those spring mines go off. Equipment napalm strike. We had this in in Urzikstan. They brought this in Urzikstan and then it went away. I think there was a bug that was happening with it, and it was a lot of fun. That shit cooked. So I'm super excited to see what this napalm strike does for the map. I think new kill streaks, we haven't seen a lot of them. So this is very much needed to kind of spice up how Warzone plays. Perks. Perk visibility, quality of life. Perks picked up during the match will now appear directly on your HUD, inventory, kill cam, and while spectating other players. I think that's pretty cool. I think you should get a lot more information while spectating. Specialists, obtaining specialists is now easier. Pool balls are now arranged on the rack to help you out. Go take a look. Okay, so when you're in the Overlook POI to get the specialist buy station, all that good, juicy loot, you had to find 3 pool balls and 3 key cards. Well, it turns out now you just have to find 3 key cards, or just 1 key card and go up and get specialists, because the code's right there for you. So they made it a lot easier, probably for people that want to go get the specialist and then go to stadium. That way you have time to do both. Weapons, drop rate adjustments for Verdansk Royale. Assault rifles now have slightly higher spawn rate compared to SMGs. Makes sense. Big map, you kind of want ARs. However, I am always happy to find an SMG offer it, because you're usually fighting within that POI. This adjustment is to improve access to mid-range combat options over short alternatives. Rebirth Island Resurgence. They adjusted the loot table there. You can take a look at that if you want. New weapons. You have the LMG, full auto light machine gun, fast fire rate, and highly lethal, offset by low mobility and hefty recoil. Hefty recoil pretty much will eliminate any use of any long range or mid weapon when you have weapons like the AMAX and the Cypher, who are laser beams. So especially when you don't have the movement penalty that LMGs have. So if this is their introduction weapon that you have high recoil and low mobility. Cool. You introduce a weapon, no one's going to use it. So hopefully not as much as it seems to be said right here in the patch notes. It could end up being a laser beam. Who knows? The ABR-81 assault rifle, the AUG, 3-round burst assault rifle, good handling and power, moderate recoil and range, and you can configure it for full auto. I'm guessing similar to the SWAT 556 that turns it into the Growl. And it looks like it is a battle pass reward. Boxing gloves is a new melee weapon. So 9mm skull splitter. This is what was limited and ranked. Bring the power precision of a marksman rifle to your favorite pistol. The barrel greatly increases damage to the head. Reduces. Okay, sweet. So it's kind of like the old jack conversion kits that we used to have on Urzikstan. PPSH, helical magazine and season. Fire to the beat of your own drum with the SMG attachment puts other magazines to shame. Manage heat on this high ammo count mag, spraying bullets, and close to mean ranges. Okay, we'll have to play around with that. So it seems like it's like the belt-fed LMG, where the more you fire it, it heats up and can stop shooting. I'm curious to see how this works out, especially for an SMG. Default loadouts were updated. That's good for the casuals. We got some specific weapon balancing here. Looks like an AK-74 buff for range, an Amy's buff for range, AS Val buff for range, AMAX as well. I like the AMAX right now, so any buff to that weapon, mwah, chef's kiss, baby. Looks like a lot of, yeah, just end the Model L buff for range. Bullet velocity also increased. Wait. AMAX inflicted flinch on enemies increased by 15%. Bullet velocity increase. So it's like 3 buffs on the AMAX. Yes. So AMAX, in my opinion, if you can hit headshots, was already, in my opinion, better than the Cypher. Cypher's better if you're hitting right there in the chest. But okay, SMG damage range for the C9, the Jackal, compact inbound sight speeds improved by 10 milliseconds, minor buff. KSV headshot multiplier increase by, that's a big, that's 13% higher. I'm curious to see what that does. But that's going to require you to hit headshots. Damage range for the Ladra. Damage range nerf for the LC10. Significant one too. A full meter. So that affects your long barrel. Because, you know, like the higher your range is, the more it multiplies based off of your long barrel. Or if you do run like a monolithic suppressor. I don't think you should ever do that. The long barrel does help that damage range a lot. So that's going to make it come down quite a lot more than just the 1 meter. Headshot multiplier decrease. Arm multiplier decrease. Lower torso and leg multipliers decrease. Aim down sight speed slowed down 15 milliseconds. They nerfed this in multiple ways. They nerfed the damage range, the multipliers, and the ADS like speed as well. This means it's gone. The LC10's dead because there was the C9 right behind it. Yeah, it's gone. So don't use LC10 during the update. PPSH, headshot multiplier increase. That's a pretty big one. So paired that with the new mag on it, maybe. Sped it up too. SOG. Got the multipliers that got a little bit better. The SOG, here's the tricky thing with the SOG, right? It was really weak when you hit legs, limbs. Really, really good when you hit just the chest. This makes it so you don't have to hit just the chest now. It probably brings it all online, so it's a little bit more forgiving. And then it's improved for ADSP as well. I don't use the Tonto. It's terrible. Marine sprint to fire improved. That's good. But the Marine's a 2-shot shotgun. So if you're one of those movement players that can like peek shoot, the Marine's really good. It's not very forgiving. You miss your shot, you're pretty much dead. But it's a 2-tap weapon. And sprint to fire was one of its biggest weaknesses, so this is actually a massive buff for it. LMGs, you got some damage increase for multipliers for GPMG, and bullet velocity slight buff. PU, well, the issue with these guns also is the recoil. They're just not competitive with the ARs, and these small buffs ain't gonna matter. Multipliers, bullet velocity on all 3, not good enough. So the LMGs really not worth your time as of right now. AEK full auto mod. Headshot multiplier increased. I always like headshot multipliers. I think that you should be rewarded for hitting your headshots, so that's nice. And upper torso arm multipliers increased. So if you're hitting basically chest, arms, and head, this thing probably just got a lot better. SWAT 556. Max damage range decrease, bullet velocity decrease. So a couple ground nerfs. I think it's still going to be pretty one of those consistent, easy to use weapons. Snipers, bullet velocity increase for the MR, aim down sight, so slight improvements. Wow. Did not expect to see this. The aim down sight speed from 600 to 630, bullet velocity decrease. I'm surprised they ever nerfed that. Range increase for the LR for the one shot, the frost line. Range for the siren, made it a little bit quicker. Set up UV towers properly. No one really cares about those. Some camo updates, and then some bug fixes, which if you wanted to read these, feel free. I'm just scrolling past, and then you can just pause and read it. I think the stadium, ground floor loot, things like this, great change. They're touching more weapons. However, it should be a weekly, if not a bi-weekly thing, where they're just buffing all these lower end weapons, bringing them up so it's closer to the meta weapons, instead of us always nerfing the big gun, the big dog, the meta weapons. You know what I mean? So I'm excited to see what the stadium thing has to offer. I hope you guys are too. And let me know if you like me covering down these patch notes as, you know, the most winning player, my perspective on what's coming for the next season. Drop a like, and if you did enjoy this, hit that subscribe button. All right, guys, take care, and I'll see you tomorrow.